Go, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Your bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most, I tell her, little bitch, you so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me, niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
In the prestigious and esteemed GOJO clan, a child named Isagi was born. Destined for greatness, from his earliest years, Isagi's life revolved around traditions and expectation from his noble lineage. As he diligently prepared to become a prominent figure within Japan, however, fate soon had other plans in store for a young Isagi, steering him towards an unexpected passion that would reshape his future. As he grew older, Isagi's heart became captivated by the exhilarating world of football. The thrill of the game, the rush of the competition, and the camaraderie of a team ignited a fire within him that burned brighter than any ancestral expectations that had before him. The dreams of becoming a revered figure in Japan's society gradually took a backseat to his unwavering desire to pursue a new love for football. Driven by an insatiable hunger for success, Isagi set his sights on one thing that Japan hadn't had in a long time: to win a World Cup. And with each passing day, he immersed himself in the intricacies of the sport, honing his skills and relentlessly pushing himself. The dreams of his noble family that he once held close to his heart faded slowly into the background as his singular focus of glory ran to the front of his mind. A 10-year-old Isagi stands on the football field of his club team, looking around at all the other kids his age. All of you are so annoying. He smiles while dribbling through all the other kids in his way, using his lapsed blue dribbling technique. As he gets through everyone in his way, he continues laughing, asking himself what he should do now. Oh, I got an idea. Isagi then flicks the ball into the air and rips a shot into the goalkeeper's face, sending the ball and the player into the back of the net. The younger kid starts to cry, with Isagi looking down on him. Pretty pathetic. Isagi dominates anyone his age, with many scouts even looking at him, as after the game he walks off not paying attention to his coach. Who the hell cares what you say? I won, didn't I? Isagi, football is a team sport. I'm sure it is, but I scored the most, so I'll say the victory is mine. He continued to play like this until age 15, as by now he's regarded as one of the new Gen 11 members. He's also a kid who plays for one of Japan's club in the U18 groups. FC Tokyo was an amazing squad before adding Isagi, but now they've become incredible. From the start, Isagi's skills and determination caught the attention of his teammates and his coaches. As he trained and played matches with his team, his abilities began to flourish. Time does pass, with Isagi becoming close to his club. During a crucial tournament, FC Tokyo finds themselves facing a formidable team. It was this intense environment that Isagi's latent power would soon awaken. Known as the Six Eyes, this ability granted Isagi complete vision of the field, sort of like metavision in a way, being able to read the movements of players with incredible precision. And with his newfound power, Isagi could perceive the subtle nuances of the game. He could anticipate his opponent's next moves, understand their strengths, their weaknesses, and even discern their potential limitations and potential goals. This extraordinary perception allowed Isagi to position himself strategically, enabling him to make split-second decisions and outmaneuver his opponents. Moreover, the Six Eyes provided Isagi with access to a devastating technique known as the hollow purple shot. This move, characterized by its vibrant aura when being used, combined with Isagi's enhanced vision with his exceptional shooting skills, The shot unleashed a ferocious strike, capable of surprising even the most skilled goalkeepers. As Isagi continued to showcase his abilities within these matches, his teammates would only marvel at his prowess. And with this new shot, Isagi became a vital asset to their success within this tournament. However, they would still fall short when in the finals. He did his best to score as many goals as he could, but in the end, he just wasn't enough, as this was a pivotal moment for Isagi's story, realizing that he needs to become stronger. If he can't lead a team to victory, then how can he call himself a striker? More than that, how could he even win a World Cup? He has to be better. And this is when the ultimate opportunity would provide itself. With the season now being over, Isagi is presented with the letter. Blue Lock was something that had caught his attention. He was already a part of the new Gen 11, but this was something that could make him even stronger. This was what he was looking for. So he heads off, leaving his clan behind without saying a word. Arriving at the facility, he gets stares from everyone. Some players even try to talk and ask for an autograph, but he ignores them all, walking inside while boasting. So this is Blue Lock. Kinda average. I don't care what you have to say at all. I joined because if anyone thinks they'll become the best, I plan to crush them. You can go ahead and open the doors. I made my decision before even stepping inside this building. Jinpachi Ego grins from ear to ear, allowing Isagi to pass through while beginning his speech. Anri then hands him a uniform with no number on it at all, as he walks off smiling. And now, we skip to the first day of Blue Lock, as Isagi sits in a room, waiting for his teammates to arrive. As now, in this timeline or story, he'd be a part of Team Y with Okawa and Nico. As they arrive, and they begin explaining who they are and introducing themselves. Now, a game of tag was presented, and they begin it. Some random player was it, and couldn't hit anyone with the ball, leading to his eventual elimination. Now their real training could begin. Since Isagi was so far ahead of everyone, he was so good at this. And there wasn't a challenge at all to him. It all came naturally. And soon their first match was announced to be against Team V. Isagi didn't seem worried, as he knew their abilities wouldn't be enough to beat him. However, one person began to follow Isagi almost religiously, as it was Iki Nico. The two didn't have a friendship. It was more like a partnership in a way, as Nico wanted to become more like Isagi with each passing day, as he realized how far ahead he was in terms of skill and knowledge. So, he would continue to study Isagi like a science project in order to further his own growth. Soon, match day was here, with both teams appearing on the field. Isagi claims that this shouldn't be a problem, but Ryo thinks otherwise. He points out how Nagi will become the best and win them a World Cup. This makes our protagonist laugh and walk to the ball at the center of the field. I'm sure you think these numbers detailing your rank mean something, but I don't at all. I know in Japan, there's no one greater than me. With his exceptional skills, Isagi proved why he was regarded as a new Gen 11 member. From the whistle, Isagi took control of the game, displaying his offensive prowess. His lightning-fast footwork, precise passes, and strategic positioning left the opposing team in disarray. Isagi's ability to read the game and exploit the weaknesses in the defense allowed for him to create a numerous number of scoring opportunities for himself and even teammates. And with him heading down the field, he showed off the 6 eyes. Ryo and Zantetsu tried to sandwich him defensively, only to be forced into his highlight play. And with his 6 eyes, they allowed him to react almost instantaneously, predicting the moves of his opponents, which goes hand in hand with his clan's own Limitless. But here, Limitless won't work how SATORU GOJO's is. Instead, it'll be kind of like the Byakugan, but even stronger. And since this is like a 360 zone, well, within it, Isagi is of course absolute, meaning Zantetsu and Ryo stood no chance at stealing the ball and were humiliated in the first play. Isagi then passes to Nico, who then sets him up perfectly for the first goal of the game. It might shock you here, but Nico had been pushing himself so hard that he could keep up with Isagi just a little bit, as the two would high five, looking back at their opponents with hunger in each of their eyes. This was just the first goal of many, but Isagi's dominance did not end with his offensive brilliance. His defensive skills were as equally awe-inspiring. With impeccable timing, he intercepted passes, blocked shots, and disrupted his opponent's attacking plays. Isagi's sheer determination and unyielding focus made it nearly impossible for his rivals to break through his solid defense. As Team V made their attack, Ryo looked for Nagi, only to have the ball intercepted by Isagi. Wait, he's on defense too? From this, Team Y ran up the field. Isagi tells his team, well, it's pointless, since he was already there. Isagi slams his foot into the ball, using reversal red to strike it and make a pinpoint pass to Nico, who was ready to slam his foot using his own version of the direct shot, as here is where he sees his eyes, almost in puzzle-like pieces, showing off his own spatial awareness and how he was able to make it to the goal. He gets a short flashback detailing how he moved in the shadows while others were focused on Isagi and their opponents. But once Isagi gained possession of the ball, Nico came out of the darkness and into the light to score this goal. Ego from the screen room notes that this is a pretty scary duo. To outplay a team not only once, but twice at this level was incredible. And both of their goals were not flukes at all. Isagi's shot was powerful, but also disrespectful, since he aimed in a place where the keeper could have gotten it. As for Nico's shot, it was one of a kind, almost like a volley, but not quite. While Isagi was the driving force, Nico played a crucial role in supporting him. Nico perfectly complemented Isagi's offensive moves. He anticipated Isagi's passes and made intelligent runs, creating a seamless synergy between the two of them. Nico's ability to read the game and find open spaces allowed for Isagi to exploit the opponent's defense even further, amplifying their own attack prowess. On the opposing side, Nagi in particular displayed a growing desire to win, which motivated him to evolve even further. His improved techniques and determination allowed him to contribute to his team scoring efforts. This led to him scoring his own goal by dribbling right around Okawa into the defense. And after making this goal, he would look to Isagi, asking from one prodigy to another to show him even more. That's all he desired in these moments. But Isagi could only smile, telling Nagi it was too late for this type of big change within him. Isagi's defense proved to be an insurmountable obstacle. Isagi's unwavering focus, anticipation, and exceptional tackling ability left the young prodigy Nagi frustrated and unable to break through. The opponents soon realized that Isagi operated on a completely different level, showcasing his mastery of the game. This made Nagi only want to win more after losing to them, as even Ryo had never seen this side of his friend until it was brought out by some stranger beating them. Things had continued throughout this match, with Team Y scoring 4 more goals before it was over, and as the match concluded, the opposing team acknowledged the undeniable truth. Isagi was in a league of his own. The name Generation 11 now held more weight than ever within the facility once everyone got word of his victory. Isagi and Nico went off after to continue their own training, as he had realized that their teammates were too far behind and couldn't help them at all in their next matches. But Iki Nico was different. Isagi could read his emotions and his intentions thanks to the 6 eyes. He knew that all he wanted deep down was to defeat Isagi, but the only way to do that was to become strong by learning after him. So he let him, in hopes that one day they would be complete rivals. While inside the dining halls, Isagi is later approached by Kira. "Hey there, do you remember me?" "Nah, not really. Why?" Kira frowns but lifts his head. "Makes sense since we played against each other in a middle school tournament." "Oh yeah, we did. Wait, I remember you. Didn't I score my first bicycle kick against you for the win?" Kira nods in anger, but lets it go. "Well, I only came here to warn you. I plan to get revenge for that game and many more. You won't win tomorrow." "Is that what you honestly think?" Kira nods and Isagi stands on the table, cocky as ever. "Well then, you'll have to show me how much you really want to win." The two stand at opposing sides of the table, glaring at each other, as now a new rivalry had emerged from right here within the facility. To challenge someone who sits above you is dangerous, but to sit above the rest and take them lightly is even worse. Still, Isagi claims that he'll crush them like ants before walking off. The stage was set for an epic clash. Team Y boasted the exceptional talents of Isagi as their main goal scorer and Iki Nico, who possesses an extraordinary spatial awareness ability. On the opposing side, Team Z showcased the formidable offensive lineup of Kira, Bachira, Kunigami, and Shigiri. As from the start, Team Z devised a strategy specifically aimed at neutralizing Isagi's impact on this game, as we would get a flashback to their training, where Kira was the one to come up with this plan. Raichi would actually be the one to question if it would even work, but Kira was confident. They were determined to contain him and prevent him from unleashing his full potential in this match. Team Y began running down the field with the ball, utilizing their strongest options, Nico and Isagi. Isagi then noticed he was being watched from all angles. "I see what you're doing." Isagi presses ahead, only to have Raichi and Kunigami block him with their bodies. "Not so fast, you freak." Nico then looked up for the pass, but there was no option, so he was forced to dribble around Bachira, making him more excited. "Move around, you egoist." "Don't you order me around, you idiot." "If you bastards won't let me go forward then, I'll just do it in reverse." They were soon overwhelmed by Isagi's incredible reversal red shot. It exploded with power right by them, leaving most of them in shock. Nico then walks over, saying it took him long enough, but Isagi couldn't care less. Looking at Kira, he smiled. "If that's all you got, then fall over and die with your shitty plan." Although Team Y seemed poised for a dominant victory, Team Z did not succumb easily. They put up a valiant fight, displaying resilience and determination. In fact, because of their main offense, they managed to get by Isagi with clear passes. Kunigami was the one to end up with the ball, going for a left-footed shot, as he claimed that this one would be his. The hero went to claim victory, only to have Iki Nico block the shot with his face. The keeper shouts out that it's a loose ball, and Okuwa grabs it. Now it's our turn. He lobs it over their heads to Isagi, who was already waiting for it. With his back turned, he could feel it. No, not feel. But this time, he could also see it with his 6 eyes. "I get it now. You're using me. Is that how you plan to become the number 1 in Japan?" Isagi then spins right around Kira, letting the ball fall to the ground while also bouncing. Well then, let's get started. Isagi uses his lapse blue dribbling technique to draw on players from Team Z, making them look foolish. With different combinations, they wouldn't stand a chance. From his expression alone, you could tell that he was becoming more confident in his skills. It's not like he wasn't before, but now he was just showing off. Things like making Kira stumble, dropping Raichi to the ground, and rolling the ball off his shoulders around Monk. None of them stood a chance at all. And now, it was time for the climax. Isagi winds up his shot, only to have Kuon foul him here. There's no way you'll be able to shoot like this. Isagi falls to the ground with the whistle going off, and Kuon gets a yellow card. A free kick is then given to the opposing team, with Isagi taking it. Well, if I'm being honest, I expected something like this from your team. He then steps back while placing his hands together. Try and block this. Our protagonist easily shows off his hollow purple shot, scoring his second goal of the match, as he would celebrate by looking down on his opponents, telling them that their best isn't enough. And throughout the match, Isagi's indomitable spirit and unwavering determination shine through, overcoming every obstacle in his path. He showcased his extraordinary skills and led Team Y to a victory. However, the match was still fiercely contested, with Team Z refusing to back down. In the end though, Team Y still won, but not without a hard-fought battle against their opponents. Isagi's brilliance and Nico's spatial awareness played a pivotal role in securing their win. The match served as a testament to the power of both of them and their individual talent. With their win, Team Y leaves their opponents in shambles, as each one of them seemed crushed by the power of Isagi. And for the rest of the first selection, nothing really happens, as Team Y would go undefeated with Isagi leading them in goals. Not even Baru could keep up with Isagi, especially as he begins to let loose. And if he couldn't, the Wanima twins stood no chance at all. Now, for the training that they have before going into the next selection, Ego does notice that Isagi isn't struggling at all, which intrigues him. So he has Isagi increase his training to further his growth. At first he hated this, but he soon began to do it more and more, as it changed his mind. It wasn't any special treatment or anything, but for him to grow, he would need an extra push like this, and he realized that himself. So the hours of shooting or extra sets in the weight room all contributed to him becoming better. Soon, their team would step through the large doors, entering a room with many other players. Ego begins to explain what he has in store for them next, especially with them being introduced to the greater world. But as he begins to explain football outside of Japan, with all players of shapes and sizes, mid-speech, Isagi walks through the doors into the first test while waving at Nico. Make sure you keep up. Isagi eagerly stepped into the second selection of Blue Lock, ready to face the daunting challenge that awaited him. The first test demanded nothing short of an extraordinary skill and determination, scoring 100 goals in under 90 minutes. However, the room harbored a formidable opponent in the form of their holographic keeper, programmed to block even the toughest shots. Undeterred, Isagi knew that he had to rely on his two shooting techniques to take them to new heights. His first technique, reversal red shot, possessed the ability to explode off a pass or when struck as a dead ball. It was a potent weapon in his arsenal, but he understood to conquer this test swiftly, he needed more, as his second technique was a hollow purple shot, had a longer windup, but it had devastating power. When unleashed through the air, it made a formidable force. Isagi recognized the potential within these techniques, as even though it required more time to execute, he was willing to embrace the challenge to refine his skills even further. To achieve victory within the time limit, he would have to push himself beyond what he believed as his limits. His six eyes heightened a sense of awareness and perception, but would play a crucial role in reading the holographic keeper's movements and predicting them, finding the slightest openings that he would exploit. Isagi was determined to sharpen his shooting techniques and perfect his timing and unleash his shots with unwavering precision. With each strike of the ball, he began to grow stronger. He relentlessly trained his body, honing his shooting techniques until they became second nature to him. The room echoed with the sound of the ball crashing against the holographic keeper's virtual hands. But Isagi persisted, undeterred by the goalkeeper's resilience. As the minutes ticked away, his focus intensified as he channeled everything into his six eyes and his shooting techniques. The reversal red shot became even more explosive, leaving the goalkeeper with no chance to react. And the hollow purple shot, though requiring a longer wind-up time, gained an even deadlier precision, ripping through the air like a fighter jet, breaking the sound barrier. Isagi smiled, saying that this place was getting even more exciting. As he quickly finishes up this test, taking his final shot, which left a smile on Igo's face. As Isagi stepped through the doors, being the first to do so, and his number would change to that of 1, and Igo congratulates him on being the first to pass through, but he states he'll have to wait on 2 others before he can go even further. He nods and he would sit down, as later Rin and even Tokimitsu would walk through the gates. Well then, let's form a team of 3. They agree and head to the next area, wasting no time, as it might be a while before any challenge for them arrives. And some time does pass before another team of 3 makes it to them. But it was an unexpected trio of Kira, Nico, and Kunigami, and with this match, they would actually challenge them, with Isagi's team being red and Kira's being white. Team Red, consisting of Isagi, Rin, and Tokimitsu, showcased their dominance throughout this match, and as it kicked off, both teams exhibited incredible individual plays. Rin, known for his exceptional shooting ability, surprised everyone by scoring an astonishing goal from half field, leaving the spectators in awe. His precise and powerful shot left the opposing team with no chance to counter or block. With that, Team White began to make their own plan. Having 2 strategists made this easier, as Kira could bounce ideas off of Nico, and with Nico already understanding Isagi somewhat, he knows how he plays, and tells him to leave it up to him. He's going to find a way to finally beat him. They go on their own attack, with Ren not responding or even moving, making this a 2 versus 3. Kunigami gets the ball and sees an opening going right by Tokimitsu, who got bodied. Wait, no. I can't let you score. Kunigami goes for a shot, only to have it blocked by Isagi. Damn it. You're so predictable. No way you could be a hero. Nico watches the ball fall and prepares to use his own direct shot, only to have it stolen by Rin. You don't even know how to use those damn eyes of yours. Nico is shocked as he watches Rin begin to dribble and take another shot, only to have it trapped midair by Isagi and then shot into the net with a volley. Rin was dumbfounded that his goal was stolen, but he stated that he expected as much from someone who's in the same group as his brother. Isagi then turned, asking what he was talking about, and Rin tells him that Hitoshi Sei, another Generation 11 member, is his elder brother. Isagi states he doesn't even know who that is, or what group he's even referring to. Rin would then put it together in this moment, that since Isagi was so young, and probably the youngest member of their group, he's never even met the other Generation 11 players. He might not even know that he is one. That's just something that goes around the world. But why was that? Isagi then states that he doesn't care about Rin's brother. If he's not a striker, then he's not important. He slicks back his hair out of his eyes, letting it flow and showing off his 6 eyes. The rest of this match becomes set in stone, with Isagi not letting anyone score but himself. However, 2 people would actually try to manage, and they would score, with Ren scoring a corner shot. And someone expected. Nico of Team White tapped into his hidden potential, using his determination and his tenacity led him to awaken his own eyes, enhancing his spatial awareness to unparalleled heights. As he thought more and more of the words of Ren, it was the key to everything. With his newfound ability, he became a force to be reckoned with on the field, as his precise passes and exceptional reading of the game and quick decision making led to an opening for himself. But besides this shot that he was able to get off, Team Red would of course have victory. And now they had to figure out who to choose. But it was actually obvious, as Isagi tells his old friend to join him once again, with Nico stating that it would be a pleasure. Looking up while grabbing the hand of Isagi, we now see his eyes have their own unique pattern, which causes our protagonist to smile, knowing what this could mean for their future. The team of 4 moves ahead, knowing what they had to do, and they had one more match before completing this selection. Since that would take some time, they go off to train. Each one of them has their own separate training that they would do. Rin focused more on calming his mind with meditation and precise drills, while Isagi was more rampant, allowing his ego to take off and develop further. Nico worked more on developing his mind as well, and his eyes, so that he could keep up with those two. As Tokimitsu, he kind of did his own thing, trying to build his confidence, slowly but surely. Eventually, a team of 4 does make it to them, with that being Kira, Nagi, Baru, and even Kunigami. All 4 of them would enter the room with Isagi, claiming that this is where it all would end. He would shrug them off, taking a similar shot to Rin, but with no curve at all. A half-field knuckleball. So, you're back already. Has it even been that long? And you brought some more ants to be crushed. Baru then steps to Isagi, saying this time will be completely different. But Isagi walks off. I'll see you 4 soon. Make sure you don't disappoint me. With this match being declared, the players on the team met on the pitch in red and black, as Rin stood at the forefront with the ball at his feet. This again? Really? Don't complain. Just end it quickly. They're not a threat to us at all. For once, this is something that we agree on. Rin and Isagi make a move in sync, shocking the players who were their opponents. Somehow Rin's calm playstyle complemented Isagi's wild movements. The two of them ran right through the front line, making it to the center. Rin did so until Baru was face to face with him. I'll be taking this. The king then steps back while blocking the path of Rin, only for Rin to perform a quick elastico to get around him, saying that he's lukewarm. Now, he prepares to shoot, but Kira has seen this all before. So, as the ball curves through the air, it's blocked by Kira, showing off his spatial awareness. Not this time. He smiles, but it soon fades, seeing Isagi watch the ball bounce. Our MC laughs in the face of his opponent, as he places the ball right between his head and the keeper, earning them the first goal. Rin calls that a cheap trick to wait for the rebound, but Isagi claims it doesn't matter how he scores. As long as he can change 0 to 1, it wouldn't matter. This would cause some conflict between the two moving forward. So, on defense, it seems they were defending their opponents and each other. Kira's plan wouldn't work since Baru was the only real ball handler. He wouldn't be able to get through. Isagi stood behind him, blocking him off, causing him to awaken and rip through Isagi, scoring his own shot. He roars, claiming himself to be the king and the very best, and Isagi sits back on the ground before standing up. This guy can't be serious. A king playing football? If anything, he's more like a jester to me. Isagi sets up the ball and looks on ahead. If this is something all of you want to do, then be my guest. Isagi runs ahead alone, shocking them and flicking it over Nagi before trapping it. And then he spins to the opposite side, losing him. Now, Baru of course will try to guard him, but he's dropped to the ground easily. What the? His body. Has it always been this strong? Baru would turn and witnesses Kunigami and Kira blocking off the path of Isagi. Get the hell out of my way. Isagi performs laps blue dribbling, pulling them in before breaking right through them with a burst of energy. But this version of it was on a completely different level, as they stood no chance at all. Even Rin didn't know what this was. To be able to dribble like this and get open through 4 players, that was just insane. However, Kira still had one more plan up his sleeve. And so, as Isagi was preparing his shot, well, he managed to get in the way. This caused Isagi to lift the ball in the air. He claims this wouldn't be a problem, but then he thought about one more player who had actually recovered and became a defender in this moment. Nagi was seen reaching in the air using his black hole trap, only for Isagi to still rip a volley into the goal. Nagi then helps up Kira, claiming that this guy is a complete monster. From this point on, it becomes child's play for Isagi and Rin, who dominated in this match. We get to see more and more of Rin's true ego as he becomes more of a destroyer, with him scoring more goals in this match than Isagi. Now, they need to pick one more player. And actually, both players wouldn't care, and Tokimitsu couldn't decide either, so the three move on ahead, leaving it to Nico, who could pick someone. But he had to think. Should he pick someone who could help support both of his two monsters that were on his team? No, that's not the point of Blue Lock. He'll pick someone who he can even learn from, as Nagi would be picked. Now the team of 5 could move on. As they walk to a newly branded room, Jinpachi Ego appears on the screen. So, you are the first lumps of talent to make it this far. Well, if your talents outclass your peers by this much, why don't you see how they do against the real world of football? On the screens around them, each one of the World 5 players would appear, as Ego tells them about luck, but Isagi doesn't want to hear it at all. Even if luck exists in this world, I won't need it. Talk about the angel of luck all you want, but remember this. Some of you were lucky to be born in Japan, but Japan was lucky someone like me was even born to save them. He walks out of the room with his blue eyes glowing from the reflection of the screens, and Ego spins in his chair looking to Anri, who questions why he lets Isagi do as he pleases. It's not that I let him. Simply, he's earned that right. He's produced goals like no other, and has elevated his competition. As it stands, he would be the most perfect striker to utilize for Japan. However, she then turns her head. However, there is something that he's missing. You think so? What could it be? It's simple. Instinct. Watch this play here. Ego then replays one of Isagi's earlier matches. Most likely one of the 3v3 ones. You see that? There. He pauses for a moment. It's just for a fraction of a second. But, in this moment, he has to think about what to do. Most players, like Itoshi Rin, in this video here, as we see another clip. See, there's no thought. He does it because of his experience as a player and his instincts. He trusts them. Isagi doesn't have that. Even though he has played football for a while, he's always played relying on his thoughts and pure talent. He doesn't truly have the instinct of a world-class footballer. And soon, he'll even see that. Maybe a few days would go by until we see our 5 players again, now facing those from around the world. When stepping onto the pitch, Isagi notes that the air feels different. Ren does his usual shit-talking to the players, but Isagi doesn't care for it at all. From the very beginning, the World 5 players relentlessly marked Isagi, their eyes locked on him as a target, as they positioned themselves strategically to nullify his every move. Loki, known for his impeccable speed, intercepted the path of Isagi with ease time and time again, leaving him amused, but also curious. So this is what you plan to do, to stop me. Don't make me laugh at all. Isagi performs his lapse blue dribbling, getting through Loki, but running into Luna. Not a bad technique, but I've seen better from where I'm from. He rips the ball from Isagi, sending it to Cavazos. This is when the World 5 would begin to take over. They would score their first goal here, with Isagi becoming intrigued why they were playing so hard against him. Then, it all came together. Throughout this match, Isagi noted that he wasn't able to score at all, but even Rin was able to get a surprise shot, and so was Nagi, earning each one of them a goal. But he couldn't do anything of that matter, and as the match continued to progress, Isagi's frustration grew. His techniques, once reliable and effective in every situation, seemed useless against the sheer dominance of the world's players. Every attempt he had made was met with the resolute defense, leaving him isolated, falling into despair. Even with the 6 eyes, he wondered how he could even score, as he couldn't see it. He couldn't visualize any more goals. But now, he would begin to feel it. From his despair, birthed something like no other. The desire to win more than anything. No more thinking, no more predicting and trying to see the goal. No more any of that. Now, this would be his only chance to act. Seeing Nagi with the ball, Isagi dropped back, letting him go ahead. Isagi was still being marked by Loki until he ran by Kira and Tokimitsu, losing him. What the? Isagi then watched as Nagi began trapping the ball while dribbling. With Silva in the way, he couldn't shoot, so he sent it over to Ren, who was their best option. The younger brother of Itoshi Sei then opened his body to receive it, but Adam Blake was having none of that at all. He stood in front of it, trapping it with his chest, and as it bounced just a little bit off of it, it was shot into the net by Isagi. No one even saw this coming and saw him moving into this position, as now he was standing there, leaning over. Everyone's jaw would be dropped, causing Isagi to turn to them slightly to where they could only see one of his eyes. What's wrong? You didn't expect me to score? If I can't make any of my own goals, then I'll just take everyone else's. From this point on, it became clear that Isagi's constant development was his most scary trait, as the World 5 players began to have to struggle to even stop him. Still, they won, as they only needed one more goal, as the final score would be 5-4. But Loki, well, he was the one to score it. And as it ended, he saw that Isagi was standing still. Luna would note that he might be the scariest one from the new Gen 11. Not because of his skill or anything like that, but because of those eyes and his adaptability. It's clear that he doesn't have enough experience to even challenge them yet on the world-class stage, but if he somehow gains the experience of even one world-class player, he will be a formidable opponent. They would leave the room in anger, wishing they had just one more chance. But this is where ego begins to belittle them. He shows them the clips of their last match where they had opportunities to win, but they didn't. And since they were the strongest team assembled so far, this was to be expected. However, they exceeded some of his expectations by pushing past what they had thought was their limits. Now, let's say a couple days would go by as the U20 versus Blue Lock match would be announced, with Itoshi Sei being on Japan's team. And he also hears about Isagi being within Blue Lock, which would shock him. As another player from the new Gen 11, he didn't expect their final member to even be a part of something so comical in a way, as at this point, no one took Blue Lock serious. So, he has the coach of his team invite Isagi to play with him. As back in the facility, we see Isagi and Rin tearing through their opponents by themselves in order to score. They barely use the other players on their team, only focusing on each other. Some might even think this was weird, but the two have figured out that they work quite well together. Even if they didn't want to at all, they couldn't deny the results that it produced. Their synergy on the field was undeniable, as Ren's tactical prowess and Isagi's raw talent complemented each other perfectly, and together, they became a dynamic duo that consistently outperformed the other teams. Their dominance in the 5v5 matches becomes an undeniable fact that those two were indeed the strongest. Even when facing Shido, Nagi, Baru, and other players of that caliber, they stood no chance at all. In each one of the matches, Isagi was able to tap into more and more of the power that the Six Eyes held. It almost became second nature to him to use them in every play, in every match, as his stamina increased even more while using them, to the point where he could just keep them activated in a way. Isagi knows to himself that because of this devastating loss that he had faced, he's awakened another side. Before, he had believed to be the strongest due to the fact that he had never lost. Something like that never even crossed his mind. But now, after feeling the agony of defeat, he's truly awakened. The limitations that he had placed on himself are now gone. He can now see beyond his former self, breaking through that shell. Because of this, Isagi keeps becoming stronger and stronger in every aspect. This all leads to the day right before the team is announced. He goes into a room with one screen, as Ego, of course, appears smiling. Now, Isagi, it seems you have to choose. as Itoshi Sei has used his own leverage as a player to offer you a spot on Japan's team. So, I'll let you decide who you wish to play for.
Go, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Your bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most. I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me. Niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
Blue Lock's players are suiting up in their own locker room, where we see them worried. If Yoichi Isagi teams up with Itoshi Sei, then they definitely will win. However, Rin claims that both of them are lukewarm and will be destroyed by his own goals. They finish suiting up and go into the hallway, where Yoichi Isagi would greet them. He was wearing a Blue Lock jersey and smiling. His 6 eyes dimly glowed from where he was standing. He leans off the wall and hunches over. Some of them would smile upon seeing him, as he would stated they have a match to win. Japan players arrive in the hallway as well, as Itoshi Sei seems aggravated that Isagi declined his offer not once, but twice. This is where it's revealed that the club that he currently plays for had already made an offer to Isagi before he had even entered Blue Lock. Like I care, but since you want to play alongside me so bad, let's make a deal. If I win here today, then you'll join Blue Lock. Itoshi Sei closes his eyes and opening them again with purpose. You're on. I'll show you what it means to be a part of the new Gen 11. Ren, who was behind them, was angered that his brother might be coming to Blue Lock, but more at the fact that he showed a different side to him when coming or talking to Isagi. The announcers begin to introduce the two teams as they walk out onto the pitch, noting that each team has a player that could potentially save Japan's football. The match between the U20 Japan team and Blue Lock's 11 was filled with anticipation and excitement. Right from the beginning, Itoshi Sei showcased his remarkable skills, dazzling the crowd with quick dribbling and movement. Isagi appears right in front of him to defend him, only to have the ball curved around him to Sendo. These two pass back and forth in the midfield before Sei has it once again. So this is Blue Lock. It's so underwhelming. His eyes intensify, getting around Karasu and then Nico, as each of them notes that he's incredible. Nothing like they've ever seen before. Even Nico, someone who's played with Isagi for so long now, doesn't know how to defend Itoshi Sei when he tries. Aryu would try to cover for him, only to have the ball chipped over his head to Sendo, as the U20 striker would miss the shot, angering his midfielder. Realizing he would need to take matters into his own hands, Itoshi Sei decided to take on Blue Lock's defense by himself. With lightning-fast footwork and impeccable vision, he weaved through the defenders, leaving them in awe of his abilities. Scoring the first goal of this match, he then turned to Isagi, telling him this is a bet that he will not win. You're pretty interesting, you know that? But you're a midfielder doing the job of a striker. It just doesn't suit you at all. The ball would reset as Isagi claims no one on the field will stop him. The whistle blows and Isagi rolls the ball with Sendo defending. So you're supposed to be on the same level as me? Before he could finish, Isagi blew right by him with speed. Our protagonist gets by the lower level midfielders, getting close to Sei. So this is what you want? No, not really. Isagi flicks the ball over his head to Yukimiya, who now has an opening. This allows Blue Lock's team to fully go on the offensive. They get close to scoring, but Oliver Aiku stops the goal and creates an opportunity for Sei. The Japanese team would regain possession and heads up the field for their own counter. The ball goes from Haru to Sei, who gets by a defender, and then to Sendo, who was now open. As the ball floated to the U20 striker, it was deflected by an Iki Nico, who was now defending. I won't let it end here. However, Itoshi Sei was already on the rebound. All of this is just so predictable. To come on this grand stage and believe you all have a chance is almost laughable. His aura and eyes would flare up as he goes on the attack. With Sei trying a lot harder, it's almost impossible to defend him. However, one player seems to somewhat understand his playstyle. Nico follows each of his moves, watching and defending. So this is the level beyond what I'm used to. It's so fast and calculated. There's not a movement wasted, but he has to stop soon. There it is. Here's my opening. He's gonna shoot. He reaches for the ball, only for the shot to be a fake, leaving him open as he would score a second goal. The Blue Lock players all begin to sigh, not knowing how they would win against this monster. But two players had a different mindset. Itoshi Rin and Isagi stood angered. Each one of them comes to different realizations. Rin understands that to win as a striker, he can't play like his brother. No, he needs to destroy that ideal. This would awaken a different side to him. As for Isagi, he wonders if he was truly gifted in the sport of football, as it seems there are so many others in the world just as gifted, if not more than him. Still, they didn't have a chance to counter since it was already halftime, with the score being 2-0. Jinpachi Ego would look towards the bench, but decides not to sub the players he had in mind just yet. He has a feeling that Blue Lock is about to go through another development. We wouldn't get to see what happens in each locker room, but Shido doesn't get subbed in either since they were already winning. Itoshi Sei states that their victory is guaranteed. Now, as the match continues, we see a different Rin standing with the ball at his feet. His eyes seem darker, and his expression was that of a madman losing his mind even further. That face. I haven't seen you make that face in a while. Shut up, you shitty big brother. The whistle blows, and Rin runs ahead, dominating whoever appeared in his way until he gets to his brother. The two battle it out over and over, with Rin doing very well, but this version of his brother was just on a different level entirely. He kicks the ball out from his feet, but Rin body blocks him, allowing Nagi to recover it. Well, I guess it's time for Japan to know my name as well. He dribbles the ball by a defender using a trapping style, which allows him to get wide open. Blue Lock can push even further with their offense, but can't come up with a shot opportunity. This angers their players, who are being forced to just shoot, but they keep getting it blocked, which would all lead to their first corner kick of the game. The one to take it would actually be Kira, as he stands tall, scanning the field, trying to find their best option. But who could that be? Rin was heating up, and maybe a goal would push him to the next level. Nagi could also easily score with his trapping, as well as Yukimiya, who was being lightly guarded. All these thoughts rang through his mind, until we see Ego putting his hands together while smiling. There you are, my only polished gem. Go and shine to the world. The world spins slowly around the stadium, with a shining light appearing around Isagi. He exclaims that there is no other hero or savior for Japan. He is it. He will become the best striker no matter what it takes. The one that the world needs is him. Kira could now see it, a goal that would spark a new life in Japan's football. He sends a curved cross towards the center, as all the players would jump, aiming for it, only for some of them to then realize the type of curve that the ball has on it. It goes to the outside of the box, to Isagi, who appears catching it on its bounce. He states that this is his new hollow purple shot. The ball rockets into the net as Isagi turns around with his arms out before it even goes in. You all may be gifted, but that's just a sliver of talent. His 6 eyes begin glowing as he smiles even further. Throughout the heavens and earth, I alone am the honored one. Itoshi Sei looks at Isagi and begins to realize something. This is the true striker from the new Gen 11. He's finally awakened on this grand stage, and now he couldn't disappoint. On many attacks, Isagi played defensively against Sei, blocking off his dribbling and his shots. The two somehow seemed equal in just this short of time. Adding on, Rin in his flow state would disrupt their battle, stealing it or poking it out on multiple occasions. As for the offense, Isagi displayed a new ability with his 6 eyes. They now evolved because of his awakened state, allowing him to read the true intentions of players around him. Now, he could steal or feel the shift in someone's plans for a goal or while they're dribbling. Time and time again, this led our protagonist to scoring. Even with Itoshi Sei entering his own flow as well, Isagi was just too much. Because of his true limitless and honored one flow, Isagi couldn't be touched on the field. Not even a body block could even stop him. Even for Aiku, he stood useless as Isagi would just shoot before letting him get close. The match swiftly ends as Isagi leads them to another victory with a hat trick, allowing the entire football world to now see what Japan has to offer with Blue Lock. Time passes along, with Blue Lock making their own changes to many things as well. As for the players, they are seen outside the facility, enjoying time with their families and friends, but Isagi is at the forefront of his clan being ridiculed for his departure. They didn't want him to play, but it seems that they have no choice now. Luckily for them, the mother of Isagi would birth another child, a younger female, who instead will be raised as their next heir. Isagi wouldn't care, but he also notes many things. He's been offered contracts from clubs all around the world for his performance. Even the club that Itoshi Sei plays for in Spain has made another offer, but it was still low. Isagi doesn't care for it and will forge his own path, with Blue Lock sending out their texts to return to the facility. Now, things would really heat up. As he returns, he notices many familiar faces from the U20 team, as even Itoshi Sei was there. With Blue Lock now beginning something else. Ego explains what's going to happen now. Thanks to their performance, they can now start the Neo-Egoist League, where their environments would dictate how they grow as a player. The nations and clubs that they could play for appear on the screen, along with their masters. Isagi just sits down while looking up. So, there's England, where my body would grow, increasing the strength of my abilities. That could be useful for making my techniques more powerful. But there's also Spain, that would take my lapsed blue dribbling to new heights and may even allow me to create a brand new style of play that would match my flow. Then there's Italy, a calculated system where I could fit right in. But I'd also learn how to hone my six eyes to a point where I'd reach the best in the world. Then there's France, a place where the attention gets placed on you. They have a lot going for them. And then I get to play with that guy who beat me before, Julian Loki. As someone who understands the mindset of young players, he may offer a lot more than the other masters. But finally, I have Germany, where the world's #1 is. I could learn everything from the best and then defeat him, becoming the best. In the middle of his thoughts, Itoshi Sei walked over to him, interrupting. Did you pick already? Because I'm going wherever you go. Really? Why is that? Sei's eyes begin glowing as he states that from now on, they'll be the duo or they'll become the duo that saves Japan. Isagi took some time to process where he would go and how he wanted to grow as a player. All his thoughts led to creativity and a style of football that could match his status as the honored one. So where else to go but Spain? He enters the Spanish wing with Bachara, Otoya, and Sai, greeting their new master. Livino was very chill and laid back with his introduction, but upon seeing Itoshi Sai, he smiled. Oh, hey, it's been a while, hasn't it? Sai nods, as Livino stands over him with a serious expression. The master striker exclaims that he will be the one to reawaken his true ego that was lost in Spain. Then he sees Isagi standing next to him. Well, what do we have here? The honored one, who's come to save Japan. I like that name. It suits you well, but to even be considered something like that, you'd have to get by me. This is where the others would ask what type of football they would learn. As Livino states, he won't teach them anything. Then he says a quote that will stick inside the mind of Isagi forever. No matter what anyone says, I'm the best in the world. I have my own world's best inside of me. This sparks Isagi's eyes, causing him to step to Livino. Then by that, I do too. The response from Livino is a smile. as he officially welcomes them to Spain. Days pass in their training with Isagi pushing himself to his limits. He doesn't interact with his master like Bachira does at all. Instead, he knows what he needs to do. Replicate that moment, once again. That feeling during the U20 match that led him down the path of flow. But what could that be? What does he need to do that? Isagi scores another shot on the hologram keeper, leaning over in sweat. Just what the hell are you doing? He turns to see Toshi Sai, drinking water. All of this training, and it just seems that you're the same. What do you even desire, Isagi? To reach the peak state of performance. I wish to access my flow once again. The prodigy throws down the water bottle, stepping onto the pitch. Sai then sets up the ball and demands a one-on-one. He shows off his own flow state, demanding Isagi to give him everything that he's got. Time passes as we see the two teams stepping onto the pitch to play one of their first games in the Neo-Egoist League. Isagi and Sei, or Sai, however you wish to pronounce it, are on the starting lineup, looking off at their opponents. Isagi pays him no mind, while Sai is forced to conversate with Kaiser, who wants him to join Germany's team. I'll play wherever the best striker from Japan is located. Kaiser scoffs, looking over at Isagi, who isn't even paying attention. The hero of the U20 match. I see. I'll crush him and make you believe. The match kicks off, and Isagi sends it to Sai. He then rips through the defense of Germany with no problem at all. Quick and efficient moves that tear through their opponents, getting him open time and time again. Kunigami appears in front of him, telling him this is where it would end. And our prodigy mocked him by saying this is only the beginning, activating his own metavision as he tells him to lay over and die. This is when Ness tries to stop him as well, only to have the ball flicked over his leg, and he would end up blocking off Kunigami, leaving Sai open again. You make this easy, you simpletons. The ball then floats down and is sent right to Isagi, as he's seen running for the ball. Only Kaiser was next to him. The ball seemed to be heading out of bounds as well, which would cause the Emperor to criticize Japan's prodigy. Everyone claims his passes are one of a kind, but it seems you were set up for failure. Isagi doesn't respond, only smiling while jumping straight into the air and trapping the ball with his chest. Lap's blue trap. Kaiser wonders how did he control it so perfectly, and it seems he's not even going out of bounds either. Isagi gets back down and then begins dribbling it right on the line, with Kaiser taking the bait. He stabs at the ball only for Isagi to spin around him, and now only have two defenders in his way. You all follow Noah as if he's the best. Isagi then dances around them with his new maximum output dribbling. Each move was exaggerated yet precise, as not a breath was wasted. Both defenders fall to the ground, almost being forced to bow to Isagi. He scores the first goal of the match, leaving many starstruck, as many around the world can only smile at their screens. Michael Kaiser is helped to his feet by Ness, asking what that was just now. Seems like this is the one thing Noah was worried about when coming up with a strategy to beat this team. Well, I guess it is inevitable that he would reach a state of flow like this while playing with him. The camera then pans back over to Isagi as we now see his limitless, cosmic-like flow surging around his body as the 6 eyes he possessed glowed like no other, and he smiled, knowing that this is where he makes a statement to the world. Levinho comments to Noah that his star is shining more than his own. Noah, confident as ever, tells him that this game is far from over, and he's completely right, as these two teams have monster strikers at their heads who trade goals back and forth, as Kaiser and Ness have their own strategy, ripping apart the defense to get a goal, as their chemistry was on point. Kira from the stands watches amazed at their teamwork and how good it was. But now what? Noah subs in Kira just because Kunigami wasn't producing anything beneficial, as in fact, he was taking away from their offense more than helping. With Kira now in the game, he could work on dethroning Kaiser. But what he really needed to focus on was beating Isagi. This was until Isagi scored his second goal of the match, tying the game once again. Through this goal, he noted that his dominance over others is what brought him to his flow state. An unrivaled mindset, that undeniable truth that he has to back it up, is his goals. As Isagi seemed to be heating up to his strongest state, Levinho subbed into the game, now stating he would take over, which would also cause the world's number one to do the same, saying it would be a pain that he would have to. Now, the game would reach its climax, with both teams putting everything they have on the line. Noel Noah constantly guards and battles Levinho, telling him that he will not win, with the world's number one being right in some ways. But Levinho isn't a master for nothing. He's able to avoid blocks and cut off Noah's path, getting himself open for shots. It's just Ness and Kaiser are able to block them. This leads Bastard Munkin to counter, with all of those two heading up to work with Noel Noah. And as they get through the midfield, Kaiser seems to be open for the final shot, but it's intercepted by no one other than Itoshi Sai in his own flow. You all are so lukewarm. Let me show you what a real striker can do. He lobs the ball ahead to Isagi, who traps it with Noel Noah near him. The world's number one versus me. No. In fact, I should just say, the world's number one versus Noel Noah. With Noah in his way, he doesn't do anything fancy. In fact, all Isagi does is accelerate, using another new technique, maximum reversal drive. Using the same mechanics as his shot that increased his shooting power, he focused it more on his muscles, using them to explode in speed. Still, the number one could keep up, until Isagi began using his own teammates to block off Noel Noah's vision through a new style of dribbling. Have you realized it, Noel Noah? You've entered my complete domain, unlimited void. Noah's eyes widen as he's able to perceive something totally insane with his own vision. This is what Isagi was seeing during this final play. Noel Noah would end up running into Otoya and even Levinho, who tried to take the ball from Isagi as well. But it was already too late, as the goal would be cemented in Spain's history as Isagi's first hat-trick and the defeat of the number one striker. Isagi, after scoring, wiped off the sweat from his head, claiming that this is the football he wanted to play for so long, falling out of the flow state. With the match ending, Isagi and Sei's rank go up as well, with how much they would be worth. FC Barca now continues their training, and so they would have another match. And since that would be in a while, they have time to perfect and create more weapons, utilizing them for the match against the Ubers. As it seems so far, Mark Snuffy, well, it's going to be a lot harder to defeat them because of their defensive style, as Spain hasn't ever met a team that would strategize like this. And in fact, they don't even strategize. That's not the style of Levinho. All he really does is have a scrimmage before the match to see who he wants to start. Rank doesn't matter here at all. It's only creativity and goals that would count. Isagi finished their scrimmage with another goal, claiming that Levinho has seen enough. The master striker then confronts Isagi, as later he tells him he'll need to envision a new way to score on this team that they were about to face. Isagi steps to him, placing a hand on his shoulder. They better envision new ways to stop me. A match that many around the world were waiting for. The Ubers against FC Barca. The two teams walk onto the pitch, looking at their opponents, as Baru claims he'll destroy Isagi here, and our MC doesn't pay him any attention. But Don Lorenzo makes himself known, and he makes himself known to Isagi that he won't score against him, as Germany's defense is far below their own. Isagi only responds to him, saying he talks a lot with those golds. They'll make a nice trophy once they have their victory. Lorenzo turns to Sai, saying that he likes this one. The match begins, with Spain having the ball first here. They go on to the offensive, with Isagi being the head of it all. Once stepping into the midfield, he realized that Don Lorenzo was marking him closely. I see. So this is your plan, to stick right next to me. To stop me from scoring? No wonder they name you the Ace Eater. But even defenders like you make mistakes. I'm not the ace of this team. Lorenzo wonders what he was talking about until we see Sai and Bachira making their way up the other side of the pitch, with Lorenzo now focusing on that for a split second, realizing that Bachira must be the ace, since Sai won't score, because he's playing more of a midfield position and he believes that his own ego was lost. So now, with this split second of distraction, Isagi accelerated further into the Uber's half, as their main defender was now a step behind one of the greatest scorers in Blue Lock. Luckily for Lorenzo, they planned for this as well, as now they have Aryu and Nico, as well as Aiku trying to stop him. This again, Isagi stops running and then cuts to the far post, where he doesn't even turn to see the play happening behind him. Itoshi Sai lifts his head, seeing the field in a new light. You crafty bastard. Have at it then. Many watch as the ball curves from the right side of the field, heading towards the goal. Aryu jumps, but it goes over his head, as the keeper dives to block. But it hits the back post, bouncing his way only to land near Isagi. Lorenzo, who is now on the right side, slid in front of him to stop the attack. But Isagi claimed that this will be something one of a kind. Something like that would work on any team besides the Ubers, you know that, right? But this is where your creativity dies. No words are said, only the smile can be seen on the face of Isagi. Bachira wonders what was going on, but then he sees it, as well as Snuffy and Levinho, as Levinho begins laughing, saying that all four defenders are now isolated with Isagi on the far side. He could pass for an easy goal, but Levinho then comments, "This is where we might see the highlight of the century." Isagi lifts his head, moving his hair out of the way, as Levinho comments that he was focused on this. And this is when we see an ability that hasn't been used in a while. Isagi's limitless is shown off here, as Lorenzo can't even touch him. Our striker gets around him, and then Aiku as well as the rest of the Ubers and the last two defenders. With the shot now open, he takes it, but Baru tries to body him off the ball. This is when it seems like he vanishes through thin air, appearing on the other side of the Uber's kings. All of you can just stay out of my way. Isagi scores, with his team then surrounding him. Levinho can't help but continue to laugh, even falling on the floor at this magnificent goal, while Snuffy notes that style of dribbling is just like Levinho's, except better in every way. There isn't a single flaw in his technique, as the only way to stop something like that, to that caliber, is with a keeper that can see through it and predict the shot. The defenders all looked to Isagi, who was celebrating, saying that he was literally insane. Baru, angered, wanted to destroy Isagi even more now. So when the Ubers get the ball, it's no surprise that Lorenzo is able to assist his striker in a goal as well, tying up the game. How do you like that, Isagi? Baru and Isagi continue to go back and forth throughout this match, making it clear to everyone that Baru could be on the same level as him. This was until Isagi began to show more and more of his dominance, as he scores another goal, with the Ubers becoming worried, putting all their focus onto Isagi, which eventually leads to Itoshi Sai being open for his own shot, earning them his second win. With this feeling of this goal, Sai actually smiles, with pieces of his old self coming back. His smile then fades as he tries to remain focused, but Isagi holds out his own hand. I saw that smile of yours. You enjoy crushing them like ants, and since this is the type of football you envisioned, you're having fun for once in your life. He waves this off, as now they get a break for a while. Their next match is said to be in 16 days. Now they could wait and train as hard as they wanted to. And it also seems that Levinho sees Isagi as his own successor, as they've had multiple conversations of what Isagi should do once Blue Lock was over. He suggests that he play for Barca alongside him on the official team. Isagi even tells his master that he'll think about it, but now he only has one goal: to win a World Cup for Japan in the under-20 division. Levinho says Brazil's under-20 won't let that happen, but Isagi welcomes the challenge, continuing his training as well. The match between the Ubers and Baxter Munkin, well, the Ubers would win, and PXG still humiliates Manshine City. As days before the next match, we go to the French division, or portion of Blue Lock, as we see Ren training on the field. He scores another impressive goal, with his eyes shining in that unique pattern. Yo, Ren. The prodigy then turns, seeing Isagi standing there, taking off his warm-up jacket. Why don't we settle this here and now? Ren looks up, grabbing the ball, telling Isagi to bring it. Since this match is still going on within the manga, I'll just do a quick overview of how it would go in my what if. Obviously, with the monsters that they have on PXG, I believe they would actually get the hot start. And since they have some defensive players, I think the score would actually be 2-0 for the first portion of the match, until Isagi and Sai begin to bring out a different side of each other. Isagi would convince Sai that there's fun in football, which would bring out his true ego, as Isagi could just tap right back into his flow state. And with these two in their true flow states, as well as Bachara in his own, I think their offensive capabilities will be something else, and players like Tokimitsu, Ren, and Zantetsu would have to give it their all just to stop them. As players like Choppy, who we don't know much about, would be crucial in this match, as I think it would come down to a final goal, with either Ren or Isagi scoring it. But I think Isagi would have the upper edge here in my what if, as Ren is insanely strong as we've seen time and time again, but this version of Isagi could take on or even compete with Noel Noah, and I think that's just leagues ahead of Ren for this point of the story. But if Julian Loki and Levinho did sub into the match, that could prove troublesome, as maybe Julian Loki and Choppy have some unforeseen duo capabilities that could rival something like Shido and Sai from the U20 match. But for now, we'll just say that FC Barca goes undefeated within this, as it was the closest match that they would have in the Neo Egoist League.